Hello, first tonight, a mother's warning about a deadly game which she believes led to the death of her 13-year-old son.
Tyler Myson was found hanging from his bed at his home in Suffolk last September. Today, an inquest was told there was no evidence he had planned to take his own life. Instead, his family believes he may have died while strangling himself in order to get a high.
Tyler Myson was, say his parents, a happy but easily led boy. A pupil at Holbrook High School in Shotley, he was joining the Army Cadet Force. But on September the 9th last year, his stepfather found him hanging from his bed at home. His apparent suicide left his family distraught and baffled.
Ty was one of those kids who had no fear of anything. He was a follower, he wasn't a leader, he was an amazing kid.
Today at his inquest it emerged there was no evidence Tyler had intended to kill himself. Instead, his mother told how she believed he died after strangling himself in his bedroom to try to create a high. In retrospect, she says there were warning signs she failed to pick up.
He had the signs of bloodshot eyes, marks around his neck, headaches. The signs were there. Reading on the signs, I'd say 90% of the signs were there with Ty.
In recording an open verdict, the coroner, Dr. Peter Dean, said that Tyler's death may have been caused by some form of high-risk game or experiment going on. He said this cannot be excluded. But he also added whether this is what happened is difficult to say. Tyler's mother blames social networking sites and peer pressure for planting the idea in her son's mind. Her call for a national awareness campaign has been rejected by the government. It says, "We believe that this practice is still relatively rare. We feel a campaign may give the practice unwanted publicity and increase the risk that more children may experiment with it." But Joanne Myson is adamant others must learn from her son's tragic death.
Any adult who deals with a child, be it a GP, schools, health visitors, whoever, needs to be aware of this and hopefully put an end to it.
Richard Daniel, BBC Look East.
2 men have been arrested in connection with the murder of Rachel Manning 10 years ago. The 19-year-old's body was found near Woburn Golf Club in December 2000. Her boyfriend at the time was convicted of her murder but later cleared. Nikki Jenkins is in Milton Keynes now. Nikki.
Well, this is one of the most notorious miscarriages of justice in our region. It's resulted in an innocent man serving 6 years for a murder he didn't commit. And almost a decade on, there's no justice for Rachel Manning or for her family. Now, 18 months ago, I was back here at Milton Keynes Police Station as they helped to relaunch the investigation into their daughter's murder, this time with the offer of a £25,000 reward.
There's not a day that goes by where we don't think about Rachel and miss her. Everywhere we turn, there is something to remind us of what we've lost. Walking along the street and hearing someone call out, "Mum," these are constant reminders that Rachel's not here.
In a green wig and fancy dress, Rachel had been to a nightclub on the night she died. Outside, she'd argued with her boyfriend Barry White, and they'd gone their separate ways. Her body was found 2 days later. She'd been strangled and battered so that she couldn't be recognised.
We had to see those horrific injuries firsthand, of course, when we identified her body in the hospital mortuary. This was the most soul-destroying thing any parent could go through. And it's the last mental image we have of our daughter, and it never fades.
Swift arrests led to convictions. Barry was found guilty of her murder, his friend Keith Hyatt of allegedly helping him to get rid of her body.
Did you have anything to do with the murder of Rachel Manning?
I never, no, not at all, nor did Barry.
Known as the MK2, their case was picked up by the BBC's Rough Justice programme. In 2008, their investigation finally led to Barry's retrial and acquittal.
All I want is justice to be done. Justice was done today, and hopefully they'll go and catch Rachel's real killer.
And that's all her family have ever wanted.
We need to know what happened to Rachel.
Well, somewhere in the police station behind me, 2 men arrested this morning are continuing to be questioned by police. They haven't told us many details about them. They were arrested at 7:30 this morning in Bletchley. We know they are local men, aged 35 and 38 years old. Police have until 7:30 tomorrow morning to hold them, then they will have to ask for an extension if they wish to continue questioning them after that. One thing you can be sure of, though, is that Rachel Manning's family will be watching closely and anxiously to see if this development really does mean that they are a step closer to finding out what happened to Rachel all those years ago. Back to you in the studio.
Nikki, thank you very much.
Up to 3,000 people who bought investment products from Key Data through the Norwich and Peterborough Building Society could be able to claim compensation. Key Data went into administration last year. The Financial Services Compensation Scheme says people who bought investments in Key Data linked to a company called Lifemark SA can now apply to them for compensation. It'll pay up to £48,000 per claim.
The new Labour leader delivered his conference speech this afternoon, telling his party that a new generation is now in charge. 13 years ago, there were 28 Labour MPs in this region. Now there are only 2, so it's falling to local councillors to keep the party's hopes alive.
Several afternoons a week, as soon as he's home from work, Winston Strachan is out delivering leaflets. He's a local councillor in Northampton.
There's a lot of supporters in the Labour in Northampton that would back the Labour Party, would back them even more now because of the pending cuts.
Over in Stevenage, the local party is also very active. It runs the local council and is currently leading a campaign for a radiotherapy unit at the nearby hospital. These are the grassroots supporters, the unpaid councillors and volunteers trying to keep the Labour flame alive.
It's the Labour activists and Labour councillors who are out there every day talking to people out in our communities that are really working hard at the moment to get the Labour message across.
Activists are essential to the success of any party. They pound the streets delivering leaflets whatever the weather. But over the last 10 years, Labour's lost dozens of councillors in the east. It has none on many councils like Huntingdonshire, Broadland or Chelmsford. And at a county level, just 4% of councillors are Labour ones. That's why this conference is so important to Labour supporters in our region. Unlike the north and northeast of England, there is no large working class vote in the east, and the party has to work hard for any support it can get. Unless Mr Miliband can make the party more attractive, there is a real risk that Labour could become extinct in parts of the east. There are still a few pockets of support. As well as Stevenage, the party controls Norwich and Luton councils, but that's all.
I find that it's actually really exciting. There's a lot of very young people here at this conference, which is absolutely fantastic for somebody like me in sort of middle years to see that there's new people coming along. No, I don't feel like an endangered species at all.
Labour has a tall mountain to climb in the east, and it needs more councillors and members at the grassroots if it wants a chance of succeeding. Andrew Sinclair, BBC Look East in Manchester.
Still to come on Look East.